All right, welcome back to another Tech Talk. I'm your host Josh from KeepItTechie. I definitely appreciate everybody being here today. I have another special guest in the building, and I'm super excited about this. Let me go down and give a couple shout outs right fast to everybody that's here. Lovely Angel Lady, my wife, good to see you. Sir Obadiah, good to see you. Alglatorian 207. What's up, everyone? What's up, man? How you doing? Tay, what's up, man? How you doing? Savage Scientist, what's up, man? Good to see you. And JM, good to see you. I'm glad everybody's here, to check this out or whatever. I'm excited about this one. I have Deirra Footman in the building, and she's gonna drop some gems on how she actually got into the tech field, as well as her experience working in it. So, um,
Okay,
so how you doing, Daria? I'm sorry. Is it Daria? I'm sorry. Am I saying it
it's
wrong?
Deirra.
De'Ara. Okay, I'm sorry. I always butcher people names. Sorry about that, but good to have you on the channel. I'm definitely, excited, like I said, to bring you on. And also, oh, textual chatter, good to see you, man. So, shout out to you and everything. So, um, first off, I always start off by allowing you to introduce yourself and just give a little bit about your background.
Sure. So, hi everyone. I'm Deirra Footman. I'm a senior network engineer. I've been in the space for a little over 10 years now. I got my start in high school in the Cisco Networking Academy. And then from there, I got an internship my senior year. And that internship ultimately turned into my first role as a network technician. Stayed in that position, kind of like a network tech, network admin role for about 2 years. Got my CCNA, and then moved on to working on more engineering work and projects. I've worked in healthcare, K through 12 education, the federal government space, publishing, a little bit of everything. A very diverse background.
Hmm. Yeah. So, is tech something that you wanted to do, or networking? Is that something that you wanted to do, or you just kind of fell into it?
So definitely tech. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was always intrigued by, taking things apart, figuring out how things work, fixing things that were broken. And I touched my first computer around third or fourth grade, and I was just like super intrigued by this thing. Like, how did it work? What did it do? What could I do with it? And that kind of just birthed my love of technology. Um, I always knew I wanted to work with computers in some fashion, but at the time, I didn't know what exactly that meant. Eventually, I learned that it meant, fixing computers, coding, or cybersecurity. So initially, I'm just like, oh, well, I'll, when I graduate high school, I'll go and, work for Geek Squad or something like that. I signed up to go to a vocational high school. And what that means was, in addition to college prep, we also got career training.
Hmm.
And I went in under graphic design. So I do have a creative side. So I figured, oh, well, I could make some money doing graphic design. That'd be fun and cool to learn. Luckily, my freshman year, we had a program where the seniors at the time just did a presentation on the work they had learned in their career pathway program. And the Cisco students got up there. And before this, it never even occurred to me that there were people who, basically made the internet work. And that just like blew my mind. And I changed my pathway immediately.
Hmm.
Um, the next day, I got the paperwork and got it all filled out to change it. And that's how I got into networking. I was just so intrigued by it, and it just sparked my curiosity. And haven't looked back since.
That's dope. That's dope. Yeah. That's super cool. You don't. Well, I haven't met many women, actually doing networking, and maybe it's just because of where I've worked and everything. But you always see, because I don't know if it has anything to do with, I don't know, a lot of the work involved. Like I remember doing some basic networking where I was, pulling cables and running the conduit and stuff to protect the wires. And I don't know, it's just different. But that's dope that you actually into, and not saying anything negative. I hope it's not coming off that way. You know what I'm saying? Because but most of the jobs I've worked in, I've seen like a lot of guys doing networking.
Mhm.
Was it difficult for you as a woman? Uh,
Yeah, so the biggest thing was not only was I was fortunate enough that my first job was primarily Black. Um,
mhm,
we had pretty much I think 90% of the IT department at that organization was Black. So
mhm,
that wasn't that big of a hurdle. But I was the only woman on the team for a good portion of my time there, and I was also the youngest.
okay.
So coupling those like two things together definitely fueled my imposter syndrome. So
Mhm,
I would often feel like, oh, these people, not only do they have so much more technical experience than me, but they're so much older.
mhm,
So I would definitely, there were times where I would just shy away from like asking questions or um, being vocal in meetings when I had an idea or maybe, an idea around how we should approach or design something. Um, and I would kind of just pull people to the side, like, in a way seeking their validation for my thinking around
mhm,
different things. And they would tell me, well, why didn't you say that in the meeting? And I'm just like, well, and having done that a couple of times, they eventually, encouraged me to start like speaking up and giving my opinions and my ideas and stuff. And once I ran into issues where people would kind of discount it or, just brush it off to the side or try to challenge my thinking, that really drove me to, in my opinion, be a better engineer.
mhm,
Because now when I make suggestions or have an opinion or, hey guys, I have an idea, I try to back it up with documentation. Um, and that really helped me early in my career, not only stifle some of the imposter syndrome, but also it worked very well for my reputation in the workplace.
mhm. Yeah, and I've ran into you know situations like that as well. Like I didn't want to give my input as much. Just kind of sit back in the background and 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 uh and not really add to a lot of the conversations. And um I think that may have hurt me in certain instances as well, just like what you were saying, and kid. I mean, you should, you know, find your voice, especially if it's something
Mhm,
know about. You know what I'm saying? Just put your ideas out there. I mean, the only thing, don't don't get worried about saying them not choosing your, option or whatever. Just throw it out there in case. I mean, because it does spark, you know, other ideas. Even if it's not the right
mhm,
thing, or if they go off of what you say, even if it's not the right thing, it may spark some idea that can come up with a better solution for whatever issue. So I definitely agree with you there. You gotta
mhm.
speak up. Now
Yeah, and it
mhm,
also,
go ahead.
to your point, speaking up also helps educate you more
Hmm.
because if you're in a healthy environment, you may spark up a conversation with someone like, yeah, this was a great idea, but here's like the components you were missing, or here's some other things you need to consider.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it's important. I see people get offended when that happens.
Hmm.
And as long as it's not done in like a disrespectful manner, I don't think that's anything to be offended of. You just, you take the notes and then that makes you better when you approach your next idea
Yeah.
or the next situation.
Yep. Exactly. And I see you in the chat. Tay, he says, I don't give input for not wanting to make a mistake. And yeah, just make sure I mean, everybody makes mistakes at the end of the day. Not
Hmm.
everybody's perfect. You know what I'm saying? And so, um, the people that may seem like they know what they talking about in these meetings all the time, at one point in their career, they made mistakes as well. And they probably gave input that probably wasn't good at the time, but that's how they learn. Just like what Miss Footman is saying right now. So just
Hmm.
don't be afraid to speak up, you know what I'm saying, and just add to the team, because it also helps, with, team building, and understanding
Hmm.
people that you work with, uh, by talking and being a little bit more confident and adding to, um, what's going on. And then also you feel accomplished and more involved in what's actually going on in the work environment, So hopefully
And
that
it
helps you.
signals to your, I was just going to say, and it signals to your peers that you are indeed like paying attention and trying
Hmm.
to learn.
Yep.
And that can often foster, mentorship and just education.
Hmm.
And like, don't feel bad about making mistakes. I have caused at least 4 outages, 3 to 4 outages in my career. So,
Yeah. Yeah. It happens, so but you brought up something earlier, internships, and I wanted to, kind of touch on that, or see if you could touch on that. So how were you able to acquire like an internship? Because I know it's some people that come into my chat, they're in college, or about to graduate or something. How did you come about that? I know you talked about a program, but all right, let me shut up and let you go. Go ahead.
yeah, so in high school, we during our senior year, the first semester, we kind of put together like a whole portfolio of the projects we had worked on in our career vocational pathway, whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
And we like put together a resume with those projects, and it was all to just teach us how to like build a portfolio for when we go out into the job market. From there, our portfolios were sent off to the companies they had partnerships with, and then they just randomly picked people to interview. So we went in, interviewed, presented our portfolios, and then they just asked us technical questions based on what projects we had had. So that was
Hmm.
in high school.
Okay.
When I attended community college, they had an internship program where they had partnered with different companies around the area. And around like the second half of your freshman year, if that was something you were interested in, they encourage you to attend the career fairs to start building out, what you had done so far.
Hmm.
And then the goal was to have you ready to be interviewed by the second semester of your sophomore year, since it was a community college.
Hmm.
So, and then for 4 year colleges, I've seen people say, at the end of your sophomore year, you should be building out your portfolio and then applying for internships for your junior year. So it seems to be like uh, around that mid freshman to like mid sophomore year, that's
Hmm.
when you should start really preparing yourself and, leveraging the resources your school has to build out resumes and portfolios and all of that good stuff so that you can then apply to internships the next year. If you're in college, a lot of colleges, their career center, they will have access to companies who are doing internships.
Hmm.
Another thing you can do if you're outside of college, you've graduated or you just didn't go, is just searching LinkedIn for entry level internships. LinkedIn and Indeed, just typing in internships, apprenticeships, and seeing what comes up.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so that's good information for you guys out there, interested in just leverage your college's resources. Now, speaking of college, um, did you have a degree or no? You
I
don't.
don't have a degree, it's in
Mm-hmm.
process. So
Okay.
my college story is a little bit interesting. I graduated high school with the intention of never going back to school. I was like, I'm done with this. I have my tech career,
Sounds like
whatever.
me.
Um,
I didn't want
and
to go to college.
eventually, right. So I ended up taking a year off, and after like just talking with some people in the workplace, they're like, yeah, but you should just go ahead and get the degree at the time in case you want to go into management, or some industries, particularly like education, really value that degree. So I'm like, all right, well, I want to, obviously at the time I didn't know whether or not I wanted to go into management, so I'm like, I might as well just go ahead and see what it's about. I went in under computer science, absolutely hated it. I hate programming, it's awful. um, Tried to stick it out for a little while until I got to like the upper level math.
Hmm.
um, And this was a community college, so and I'm just like, all right, this isn't it. On top of that, I was commuting between work and the community college. So I would go to work for 4 hours, 2 days out the week, and then go on campus. Um, and eventually it just got to a point where I was like, I want to be able to make more money.
Mm-hmm.
And the one way to make more money is to obviously work more hours. So I went, um, got, and this was another reason, another motivation for me finally getting my CCNA was to be brought on full time. So not just, I think I was working like 32 hours a week at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm like, all right, I need to one, make more money. I'm tired of doing this commute. I want to do something else. So once I got settled in, working 40 hours a week, I went on to say, all right, I've put some student loans out there. Let me, at least try to finish up.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up going to an online college that was really expensive. And just looking at the price, I just decided not to continue with it anymore. It was really expensive. The way the program was set up just wasn't conducive to a working adult, and especially a working adult with a child.
Mm-hmm.
So I landed where I am now, which is Western Governors University, WGU, and I'm in the business and IT management program.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. I was actually just looking into one of their masters, programs
Hmm.
because yeah, I was thinking about going back, but not sure if I want to do it. I mean, I've excelled, I mean, not the best, but I have excelled a little bit with my bachelor's degree, and like what you said, uh, my bachelor's degree was very expensive because I end up
Yeah,
going to online school. If you don't mind me asking, what school was it? Which one was it? If you don't mind saying.
I started out at Walden,
Okay, well
um,
then.
and I really liked the program,
Mm-hmm.
but it was just too expensive, and they hiked the tuition.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'm not trying to go into excessive student loan debt.
Mm-hmm.
That beats the purpose of
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
trying to go for. So
Yeah. I'm still paying mine. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? So I know how that go. Um but yeah, Walden, I think I looked into them a while ago as well just to see, yeah, it's expensive.
hmm
And isn't Western Governors, is it n- it's not for profit, right? I know they work with a lot of military people. Do you know?
yeah. It's nonprofit, and the
Mm-hmm.
tuition is around. I think my tuition altogether is probably around $7,000 a year.
Okay.
Um, and what outside of just the cost, what also attracted me to it was that one, they give you credit. Like if you already have certs, you get
Mm-hmm.
college credits depending on what program you're in.
Yeah, I saw that.
They give you credits based on your work experience. And also, the way the programs are set up is pretty much self paced. So, obviously, if you're a person who can set deadlines for yourself and stick to them, that's ideal. But you're not having to go like some of the other programs where, like, oh, on Sunday, you have to respond to three discussion questions. And it's
Yeah.
like, this isn't helping me with what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So, and they have a great community where like people just if you're hitting a wall with a class, you can have a chat with someone and they can help provide guidance around it. But it's just really positive for a working adult or a person with a really busy schedule that just doesn't have time to do. Like, I want to worry about getting my assignments in. I'm not worried about responding to discussion questions. That is literally just you. Wow, I agree with that point you made. Thank you
Mm-hmm.
so much. Like,
Yeah, I
that's a
know.
waste of time to me.
Yeah. I did that. Yeah, I had to do that in my bachelor's degree, and that's the crazy part about it. And you probably have heard me say this before if you watched the interviews, but my I got more out of my associate's degree in computer networking than my bachelor's degree because it was the bachelor's degree was all online. It was all about the theory of technology and security and just making sure you put the write these papers and have them submitted by a certain date, and
Hmm.
discussion boards throughout the whole program. Um, and I got more hands on because I'm one of those hands on type people. I got to actually, do it or set things up or set up servers or whatever. That's why I'm so addicted to labbing all the time now. But, and
That's a good way to be.
yeah. But yeah, it's I got more out of that associates than my bachelor's. But let me ask you this: what other like benefits did you get out of it? Because I know you was talking about your previous college experience and how you got into these different programs. Um did those well, no, trying to think of how I want to frame this question. Uh,
Mhm.
it's basically. Hmm, Never mind. It lost me. Never mind. Let's move on. I'm sorry about that. Well, let me shout out a couple of people since I, lost my train of thought that then came through. I see a couple new people coming through. Jay Nelly, what's up? Yeah, he says being confident comes with time. Yeah, that's true. Alpha Banks, good to see you. Earl Owens, good to see you as well, man. Definitely appreciate you coming through. And I got Miss Footman in the building. And I don't want to mess up your name, Daria.
It's
Okay,
Deirra.
Deirra. Okay,
Hmm.
please. I'm sorry. Please don't beat me up. Um, but so, certifications. Let's touch on certifications. So,
Hmm.
do you do? And actually, let's go back a little bit and let's compare college to. And this is that question I always ask. Should people go to college or get those certifications? Because I've met people that have strictly went to college and they got jobs in the IT field, and some people, with no college experience and got, excellent jobs with just certifications. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think you should do a combination of both,
Mm-hmm.
depending on what your budget looks like as far as the cost of college. Um, I say it really depends on what you're trying to do. So if you want an easy, like a quick, easy, I won't say easy, but obviously less time than college, you can, go for your certifications and then get to a good company that you enjoy and have them pay for your degree. Tuition
Mm-hmm.
reimbursement is one of the great benefits of working for a lot of organizations. Just make sure you are, fully aware of the stipulations. A lot of times they will want you to stay for X number of years, depending on how much they pay. And but yeah, I don't think it has to be an either or. I
Mm-hmm.
think it just really you really have to map out, what you're trying to do, what's works specifically for your situation, and then work from there. And then you also have places like WGU that offer both, your degree while you're getting certifications while you're getting the degree. So
Mm-hmm.
that's an option as well.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and I agree as well. It is it's all depending on your how much money you have available. Just it just all depends on you as a person. So I definitely agree. Um, now let's speak on your certifications. So your certifications, you got mainly Cisco certifications, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
And a couple of certifications in like monitoring software.
Okay, so how do you study to take these certifications? Or can you give some people, I guess, people any tips on how they can prepare for these certifications? They want to take them.
Yeah, so the first thing I do is get started with the exam objectives. Every vendor has just a list of objectives that are going to be outlined on the exam.
Mm-hmm.
I start there and then I break that down into, however many weeks I'm going to take the study for the exam, usually 3 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go find my resources. So I usually get whatever um, the vendor's guide is. So for Cisco, the official certification guides. And then I find a video course. So depending on what certification it is, there might be some free on like YouTube. Like for the Security Plus, there's a lot of Professor Messer stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
For the CCNA, there's some free like CCNA stuff on YouTube. But also you can use like INE, CBT Nuggets, those types of services.
Mm-hmm.
And then I find some sort of lab. So if it's Cisco cert, Cisco has tons of labbing resources. Another good but pricey place is Test Out. They do both video content and labs, so you can try that too. And then during the week, I'll read. On the weekends, I will watch videos and lab.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. Yeah, that's similar to what I do and what I talk about. It's a lot of resources out here with a lot of information. But let me ask you this: have you ever failed this certification? Because I have.
Yep,
Okay. Now,
several
how did
times.
you recover from that or deal with that? Because it was a little tough for me. I just wanted to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, so pretty much just reviewing the score report, seeing where you were weakest at, and then either reviewing the material and notes you already have or going out and finding additional resources. So when I failed my CSENT, which doesn't exist anymore, one of the areas I was weak in was subnetting. So I found some additional like subnetting courses on Udemy to look at that just made a little bit more sense to me the way the material was presented versus like what I was reading in the Cisco books or with CBT Nuggets. Um, and then also just sometimes taking a break, like just take a week or two off from it and then come back with like, refreshed to approach the material.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I I had issues with subnetting as well, so I feel your pain there. Trying to understand that fully when I took my networking course back in my associate's degree. Yeah, it was subnetting was really the only thing that was tripping me up. Yeah, but you're good with it now, though, huh?
Not really.
Not really.
I just use a calculator and call it a day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's another thing I forgot about that. They do have those calculators online now, uh, as well as applications on your phone to calculate the subnet. So yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So I guess the next thing I want to ask you. So since my channel is kind of centered around the Linux operating system. Have you dealt with Linux in any form or fashion? And I know you do a little command line with well, not little, but it's difficult to understand. But the Cisco command line, I know it's kind of
Mhm.
based on Linux a little bit. But have you dealt with any Linux at all?
I'm learning it now
Mm-hmm.
because it's pretty much the foundation for like cloud and automation type languages. Everyone's recommended that you start there before
Mm-hmm.
moving forward. But previously, I took like a Linux class, just so I'm familiar enough with the structure. I can find my way around, but I'm not really like an expert in it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and that's most people. You know what I'm saying? It's not the our main operating system that people start off learning. Most people learn on Windows, so which is understandable. So it seems like it's being adopted a lot more though, especially in the IT field because of cloud, like you stated. So uh, yeah, it's starting to become something that makes you stand out a little bit, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So um, now you said earlier that you you hate programming. Do you know any programming languages though?
I don't. So
Okay, you avoid them.
I'm starting from scratch with learning that for with like automation and stuff.
Okay, okay, cool, cool, cool. Yeah. So, as far as jobs, what's one of them? I don't know. What's one of your most um difficult issues that you face, at a job in networking, if you wanna.
Probably management not understanding what needs to be done, um, especially if it's non-technical management. I'd say that's the biggest hurdle. A lot of times with networking, it's the if it's not broke, don't fix it approach,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately down the line that can end up, causing more issues. And then when an issue happens, then it's like, the purse opens and here's all the money possible to do whatever you want to do.
Okay. And I apologize. I was looking at something else. I'm trying
Mm-hmm.
to fix something that's going on. But um, so oh dang, I forgot that too. Now there's something else I wanted to. Hold on, what was that? Okay. Um. So um. So glad you was able to come. I definitely appreciate you coming through for this. That's pretty much all the questions I have for you. And shout out to everybody that came through. I definitely appreciate it. And we're gonna have to cut it a little short, but I'm gonna try to bring you back on, okay? And we can do we could do another interview. But I definitely appreciate you coming through. And shout out to
Mm-hmm.
everybody. I'm gonna have to end this thing. You guys have a good one. Peace.